Hello everyone, this is Mumbo and welcome back to another Minecraft video, and in this one we're going to take a look at Redstone. Now, everyone knows that Redstone is a tiny bit confusing. I mean, there's plenty of different components, there's loads of different things that those components do, and for some of you, it can get just a tiny bit much. So today we're going to take a look at some Redstone life hacks. Now by this, I don't mean 3037 blaze it hacksaws. I know that's probably going to disappoint some of you. Instead, we're going to take a look at some simple tips and tricks that you can use to make your circuits 10 times better. Redstone on top of transparent blocks will only power the blocks underneath it. It won't power the blocks next to it unless the redstone runs directly into the block that it's meant to be powering, in which case it will power this one as well, which I know is a little bit strange. It seems a little bit long-winded, but that's the way that these things work. So you could use this to make your circuits just a tiny bit more compact. Generally speaking, I would suggest using cauldrons instead of redstone power blocks to transmit redstone signals using pistons. So for example right here, transmitting it vertically, well with a redstone power block, that's just quite simply not going to happen, whereas with the cauldron, as you can see, it works perfectly if we run it into a comparator. Now this example over here also shows that of course the cauldron doesn't interact with any of the other redstone circuits. For example, we've got some redstone wire right here, and we've got ourselves a piston, completely unaffected. When we flick this lever though, we can take a redstone output through it. Another cool fact about the comparator is that they can actually draw outputs through blocks. So for example right here, when we hit this button, the item goes up into the hopper, then back down into the dropper, creating a monostable circuit, and that goes through this block right here and into this comparator. Now another cool thing about this one is the fact that unless the comparator is in line with the hopper, it won't actually take an output, as you can see, which means that you can fit this thing pretty much anywhere. You can actually use levers or other redstone components to redirect redstone signals. For example right here, when we flick this lever, of course our piston is powering because this redstone runs straight into it, but if we chuck down a lever, as you can see, the redstone is now redirected and it's not powering this piston. Now if you use detector rails, we can actually control this using pistons, but one thing I will say is it does have some fairly unusual behaviour, which can actually lead to some really cool bud switches, so maybe that's a new fact for you. Redstone on top of transparent blocks will travel up, but it will not travel down, and this is due to the way that redstone powering works, which means that you can actually create one-way redstone circuits without using repeaters. Using a chain of buds and a bucket of water, you can create an infinite piston extender. As you can see right here, when we place in this water, all of these pistons will extend, and that redstone block will get higher and higher as the water goes up. Now as you can see, it's not particularly space efficient. I mean, we've only travelled up around about 5 blocks right there, but it definitely does the job. Now I've been using repeaters for a few years. They're relatively good, a little bit on the slow side, and of course redstone torches, they're old school technology from way back in the early days, but these pistons and these redstone blocks, these are pretty fancy. For those of you who don't know, pistons actually retract instantly. It takes 0 ticks. So when we flick this lever right here, as you can see, the redstone lamp turns off instantly. As soon as we flick the lever, the redstone lamp is turned off. Now of course, there is a slight problem with this system, and that is the fact that pistons actually take 1 tick to extend, which means that when we flick this lever back on, there is a slight delay, but hey, it's better than nothing. Sometimes in your redstone circuits, you're going to want a long delay. I mean seriously, a long delay. Now you could mess around with hopper timers or comparator clocks or binary counters, whatever you really fancy, or you could just go back to the old-fashioned days and make use of an item despawning on top of a pressure plate. When we hit this button, this item gets chucked out. After 5 minutes it will despawn and the redstone circuit will turn off. Now if you want a 1 minute delay, you can use an arrow, or if you want to get really fancy, you can chuck an item through some cobwebs and then make it go through a tripwire at the end. Now this is one of those hacks that very rarely comes in handy, but when it does, it feels absolutely amazing. When we run redstone up like this, then power it, as you can see, our piston doesn't extend. This redstone right here is not powering this piston. Even if we cause it an update, it's not going to extend. Now the only fix that we've got for this one is to actually extend this redstone line, then as you can see, the piston sees itself being powered and it will extend. Now this is brilliant for really compact circuits, and I love it. And finally, for my last redstone life hack of today's video, that is don't learn redstone at all. I mean, this is something that a lot of YouTubers have been trying out. What they've discovered is you can actually download another YouTube as well that has spent a lot of time and effort building the redstone contraptions, and then you can claim it as your own, and you don't have to do anything. I mean, you don't have to build anything, you don't have to learn any redstone at all. You just download it, and then you can just tell all your mates, or tell all of your viewers, that you're the one that built it. Isn't that awesome? What an awesome way to do things. I mean, that really does. That cuts down the time quite a bit, and is probably one of the easiest life hacks of today's video. So please, go ahead, download all of my redstone contraptions, and just palm them off as your own. But in all seriousness, if you do want a final life hack for today's video, chickens make fantastic randomizers. I mean, just chuck them inside a 2x1 area, then eventually they'll walk on top of the pressure plate and they'll power whatever redstone contraption you have underneath. But unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, that is all I've got time for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please sure to hit that like button, and if you really loved it, then make sure to subscribe. But thanks for watching, guys. This has been Mumbo, and I'm out. I'll see you later.